Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, and I am teaching from A Course in Miracles, the Complete and Annotated Edition, like I always do on Wednesdays. I'm teaching from the Complete and Annotated Edition, which is the latest edition of A Course in Miracles, which came out in the last few years, which is the latest edition of A Course in Miracles. And what is different about this edition is that 45,000 words that came through the scribe Helen Schuckman that were left out of the first two editions are included in this edition, plus a ton more as annotated by Robert Perry. There was so much wonderful, deep material that was left out that I really wanted to teach it so I could learn it. So I started at chapter 1, section 1 a few years ago. And today we are in chapter 6. We just started chapter 6 a couple of weeks ago. So we are in chapter 6, section 1, and the title of this section is The Message of the Crucifixion. So I think this is number 3 in this series on this section. So if you want to go back to the beginning of this section with me, facilitating, then go to my YouTube channel and you can find the first 2 installments of this section. It's a very, very powerful, very, very crucial, powerful section in A Course in Miracles. I was telling you guys in the last 2 weeks that whenever it has been in my life when I have been going through a situation which really felt like a crucifixion, like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Where I really felt like I was being attacked or misinterpreted or crucified or whatever words that you want to use for an experience of feeling like you're being crucified by the world or by someone. This is the section that I would always go to protect me, to protect my peace, my sanity, because, and I would run to it and I would use it, because when you are experiencing what feels like an attack, depending on how you respond to that attack, that determines whether you will keep your peace, preserve your peace, or make more attack, make more drama and chaos for yourself. And so in the times where I really wanted to feel safe in the face of what felt like an attack from the world or for someone, this is the section that I went to protect me from and to keep me feeling safe even in the face of an assault or an attack. So I offer this section to you as something that also, that if you want to keep yourself truly safe and sane in the face of what feels like an assault, such that you're not, such that you can feel safe and you're not creating more drama and chaos for yourself. This is the way to respond. This is the way to interpret that perception of being attacked, such that it transmutes that assault, that attack, into your resurrection, into your release, into a greater sense of freedom, into what you are supposed to be doing, God's will, God's plan for your happiness and for your life. So this is the section for that. This is the third video, the third class in this section. And we're only starting today on paragraph 10. So I highly recommend going and watching those first 2 classes in the lead up to this class here. But even if you hadn't watched it, no problem. So the name of this section is The Message of the Crucifixion. So chapter 1, section 1. Now, I've titled this section The Message of Attack, or another way to interpret your experience of being crucified that transforms that experience into an experience of being released, resurrected, freed from your plan for your life to God's plan for your life. So this is the section that teaches us how to interpret attack in a new way. How to interpret attack in a new way, in a way that transforms your experience of being attacked into an experience of your increased freedom and joy and accepting God's plan for your life. This is a very crucial section, very important, because we live in a world that seems to be based on attack. It seems like attack here is real and love maybe not so much. What seems to be most real here is attack, death, and taxes, right? And so the topic of how to interpret attack in a new way could not be any more practical for life on planet Earth. Okay, we're always experiencing ourselves as attacked. This even said in a few paragraphs back, it says, you have reacted as if you were being crucified for years. And in other words, for a long time, we have been acting like we've been crucified. Like, why is this happening to me? I'm under attack. And it says the acting as if you have been being attacked for years, maybe lifetimes. It says this is a marked tendency of those who refuse to consider what they have done to themselves. Okay, hard to swallow, hard to believe. Is saying that anger can only occur when 3 false beliefs have been accepted. What? Wait a minute. My anger can only occur if I have believed 3 false things, 3 lies. That's what it said at the beginning of the section. It says that you can only be angry and feel attacked if, number 1, you feel that you have been attacked. That's the first false premise, that you must have believed if you are angry. The second false premise that you must have believed if you are angry is that that attack was absolutely unfair. And the third false belief that you had to have believed before you got angry is that you are in no way responsible for that at all. It was a total accident. So these are the 3 false premises that had to have been believed before you could even get angry. So that you have been attacked. All right. Now, so anger means I believe I have been attacked. Anger means I believe that attack on me was unfair. And anger means that I am in no way responsible for that, because I know, of course, I've given only love. That's what anger means. Anger means projection of the cause of separation. Anger means I have projected the cause of the attack on myself. Wow, that's this section is truly one of the hardest to believe, especially when you're angry and you want to hold on to that anger, believing that it makes you strong or protects you, which we typically do. So this section really tells the truth about anger, and it's only when you apply the truth and tell yourself the truth about the anger that the anger can be transmuted into something helpful. And until that anger gets transmuted, reinterpreted into something that's helpful, that anger will be something that you are using as a justification to continue to create chaos and disaster and disease and separation in your life and in your body and in your relationships. So, the correct interpretation of anger is of the utmost value, practically speaking, if you want to experience healed body, healed relationships, healed world, healed life. Okay? So that's one of the great values of this section. So, great. So it's saying in the earlier paragraphs also the author of the course is saying, I want to teach you a new interpretation of attack. And our teacher says, look, I went through an extreme example of attack. Okay, I went through this thing called the Crucifixion. And so I know a little bit about being attacked, being assaulted, even when I had given only love. So our teacher says, I know a thing or two about the experience of being assaulted, even when I had only given love. So then our teacher says, so who better to teach you a new interpretation of attack? And our teacher says, I want to teach you a new interpretation of attack so that you can interpret attack in another way, and you can help me teach it to the world, to our brothers and sisters who are believing that they have been attacked and are believing that their anger is justified and are creating nothing but war, chaos, disease, and disaster and pain for themselves and for the entire planet. So our teacher's like, please let me teach you a new interpretation of attack. So, and our teacher is here saying that, you know, the truth is that, this is our teacher speaking, the voice of the course. I went through that experience called the Crucifixion because I wanted to teach you. I wanted to demonstrate once and for all that it is not necessary to perceive yourself, to perceive any form of assault in persecution, because you cannot be persecuted. And it says so, and if you're going to respond with anger, then you must be equating yourself with the destructible. So our teacher is telling us here that the message of that experience that our teacher went through, that extreme example of being persecuted and attacked and killed, that was intended to demonstrate the fact that you really can't be attacked, that who you are can't be attacked. Here, our teacher, it was subject to the most extreme form of assault. And notice that it did not kill him. It did not affect his essential spiritual nature. He resurrected. So our teacher is saying, so I want you to learn the truth that you cannot be attacked, so that you can stop perceiving yourself as attacked, so that you can stop perceiving that your anger is justified and continuing to create the toxicity and the damage and the pain that anger creates in one's life, in one's body, and in one's relationships, and in one's world. So our teacher's like, let's revisit the whole concept about being attacked and anger so that we can stop perceiving ourselves as attacked and creating more chaos. Now, our teacher then says, I'm going to paragraph 10 of the section. So then our teacher is saying, you are free to perceive yourself as persecuted if you choose. Absolutely. You are free to perceive yourself as being attacked if you choose. Why? Because you're free. But you might remember, when you do choose to perceive yourself as under attack, when you react that way, you may want to remember that I was persecuted as the world judges being persecuted, and I did not share this evaluation for myself, period. So our teacher, the voice of the course, is saying, I want you to remember something when you are tempted to perceive yourself as persecuted, as attacked. Our teacher is saying, I was persecuted as the world judges it, and I did not perceive myself as under attack at all. I didn't share this evaluation as myself. Can you imagine somebody going through that extreme example of attack and persecution, even unto murder, and still not perceiving themselves as persecuted, as attacked? Wow. Now that is some kind of extreme demonstration here. And so And our teacher here is saying, and because I didn't share that perception of myself as being persecuted, I didn't strengthen the perception of persecution, which means I didn't strengthen it. Okay, so that's what our teacher is saying. And our teacher says, and because I didn't see myself as being persecuted and I didn't strengthen that perception of being attacked and persecuted, because I didn't see myself as attacked, I therefore offered a different interpretation of attack. Wow, what a gift. Our teacher says, I have offered you a different interpretation of attack. I went through the most extreme experience of assault, and I did not see myself as persecuted. I didn't share that perception. I didn't strengthen it. And because of that, I offered you a different interpretation of attack. And a different interpretation of attack, which our teacher says, I do want to share with you. So that is what our teacher wants to share with us. A different interpretation of attack, a different interpretation of persecution. Then our teacher says, if you will believe this different interpretation of attack, then you will be able to help me teach a different interpretation of attack. Okay. Now, I want you to bring to your awareness some place in your experience right now where you are perceiving yourself as if you are being persecuted, as if you are being attacked, or maybe misperceived or misinterpreted. All synonyms for the same thing. Where is it that you feel like that you're being attacked without justification? Where is it that you're feeling that your anger is justified in return? Now, the place where you are being perceived as if you're being persecuted or attacked is wherever there is anger. That's your clue. That's your cue that you are perceiving yourself as attacked, as persecuted. Why? Because anger means I believe I have been attacked. Anger means I believe I have been attacked, and that that attack on me was unfair, and that I have nothing to do with it whatsoever. So find those places within you right now where you are experiencing anger. That's where it is. Now, wherever it is that you're experiencing anger, that is where your teacher wants to give you a new interpretation so that you can stop hurting yourself, so that you can stop recreating the experience of persecution and attack in your life, in your world. Awesome. Okay. Now, our teacher is trying to release us. Our teacher wants to help us to stop recreating the experience of attack. Our teacher wants to help us to stop poisoning our bodies and our relationships and our lives and our world with anger. Anger that isn't justified. Anger that is based on a misinterpretation. Our teacher wants to help us to heal our minds of the projections that we are making, where we are projecting the cause of our pain. We are experiencing pain based on a misinterpretation, and then we are projecting the cause of that pain into our relationships, into the world, and thereby creating more pain. And our teacher wants to release us from that vicious cycle. And this is what our teacher is offering us for that purpose. Anger is corrosive. Anger is poisonous. I've heard it said that anger is like drinking poison, hoping that somebody else will die. And Course in Miracles is saying that anger is based on a projection of the pain, a projection of the separation. So, if we want to stop creating and making for ourselves this poison, then the only way to do that is to allow our teacher to teach us a new interpretation of attack, which means a new interpretation of what we're angry about. And that is what we are being offered here. A new interpretation of our anger, a new interpretation of attack. Now, our teacher's going to teach us a new way to interpret it, and an interpretation that is true, and an interpretation that will release you from the perception of crucifixion and all the effects of crucifixion in your body, in your life, in your world. All right, who's game for that? Who could use some of that? Okay, so now we're on paragraph 11. It says, we have said before that as you teach, so shall you learn. So whatever you're teaching, whatever you're speaking, whatever you're demonstrating, that's what you are learning. And if you react as if you are being persecuted, if you react as if you are being attacked, then you are teaching attack. You are teaching persecution. Now, persecution and attack, that's not really a lesson that the children of God should want to teach if they are to realize their own salvation. So, you can't be teaching release from limitation. You can't be teaching release from guilt and release from pain if you're also teaching that you are being attacked, that you are being persecuted, and that it's not justified and you are in no way responsible for it. So you can't teach both. You can't teach salvation. You can't teach the truth. You can't teach love and persecution at the same time. So, do you want to be a teacher of love for real? Do you want to be a teacher of love? Then you can't be also teaching persecution, because you can't be teaching both at the same time. So if you really want to teach love, then you don't want to teach how you're being attacked, how you're being persecuted by others. Okay, great. So good reminder. I don't want to teach that I can be attacked. I do not want to teach that I have been attacked. I do not want to teach persecution. I do not want to teach. When I am with my loved ones and my students and my clients and my friends, that's not really what I want to be demonstrating to them. That's not helpful to them at all. When I'm teaching, look at how I've been persecuted. What you're really teaching people is, hey, attack is real. Persecution is real. It's for real. What you're really teaching them then is that who they are is destructible, and that they are vulnerable and they are destructible and they should be afraid. So I don't really want to teach that. I want to teach my friends, my family, my loved ones, my clients, my students. I want to teach them that they cannot be attacked. As they are created by God, they cannot be attacked, they cannot be assaulted, they cannot be persecuted. That's what I really want to teach people, so that they can experience the freedom, so that they can experience a world free from the devastation and the poison that anger sows. All right. Beautiful. So it says, okay, so if I'm not going to be teaching persecution to others, if I'm not going to be teaching, look what happened to me, look what they did to me, if I'm not going to be teaching that, what do I want to teach? It says, instead of teaching how you've been persecuted and attacked, here's what you could teach instead. teach rather your own perfect immunity. Your own perfect immunity, which is the truth in you. And know, how do you teach your own perfect immunity? Here's how you do it. Know, be certain that your own perfect immunity cannot be assailed. So I don't want to teach persecution. That's not the lesson I want to be demonstrating or teaching. So what I do want to be teaching is my own perfect immunity. I cannot be attacked. I cannot be assailed. I am perfectly immune. I am perfectly immune from all misperceptions. I am perfectly immune from all misinterpretations. I am perfectly immune from all projections. I am perfectly immune from all attack. I am perfectly immune from all misperceptions of myself. Why? Because I was created by God, not them, not that situation. It says, another way to teach your own perfect immunity from attack and persecution is this. Don't protect your immunity yourself. Don't protect your invulnerability yourself. Wow, that's typically the first thing that I do when I feel attacked. Protection, 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 defense, protection. Here come the walls of protection. I will protect myself from that attack. Here come the walls on my heart, the walls in my life. He's saying that if you're throwing up walls of protection against that attack, you are not teaching your own perfect immunity. So one way to teach your own vulnerability from attack, from persecution, from misinterpretation of others is do not defend yourself. Do not protect your innocence. Do not protect your own perfect immunity, your own perfect innocence and sinlessness. Do not protect your guiltlessness and your innocence. Do not defend yourself against that attack. Because otherwise you're teaching that you can be attacked. You're teaching that you're vulnerable, so vulnerable you need some serious protection. And it says, because if you do protect your innocence and your own invulnerability yourself, you are what? You have believed that your own perfect immunity, your innocence, your guiltlessness is assailable. You are teaching that you are assailable. Wow. Okay, so that was a wonderful instruction about what to do instead of teaching, demonstrating that you have been attacked. So it's like, yeah, okay, don't demonstrate that I can be attacked. What am I supposed to do instead? Do that. Don't defend yourself. Demonstrate that you can't be assailed by any misperception or any misinterpretation that anyone may have about you, okay, including yourself. All right, that was paragraph 11. Wonderful. Very deep section, as you can see. Very, very important and valuable, very valuable. This is the answer to how to feel safe. This is the way to feel invulnerable, even in this world, even in special relationships where attack seems real, seems to be flying. This is the way to feel safe, to feel invulnerable here in a body on earth. Wow, and what could be more valuable than that? A way to feel really, really, really for real safe, even here on earth, even here in a body. That's what I want to learn. I want to learn how to feel safe for real. And I also want to be part of creating safety, real safety for my loved ones, for others. I really want to teach my child how to create, how to experience for herself real safety, real immunity in this world. That's what I want to do. And this is a way to do it. And I haven't heard this answer about how to feel safe in the world anywhere in the world. This is the first place where I really heard an answer as to how to really feel safe, okay? And this is how to do it, okay? Learn the truth about attack. Learn a different interpretation of attack. And use it. And use it in times of temptation where you are tempted to perceive yourself as under attack. In those times when you feel like you need to defend yourself and protect yourself from attack. Defending yourself against attack is really saying attack is real, which is a belief, a false belief that makes you experience more chaos and uncertainty and a lack of safety. Great. So that was paragraph 11. Hi, Irene. Hi, Tim. Hi, Andrew. Lovely to see you all. Lovely to see your names in our healing circle and lovely to feel your loving, lovable energy. I appreciate you. Okay, great. Now paragraph 12. Irene says, how to feel safe, learn the truth about attack, and suffer interpretation and use it. Okay, beautiful. All right, now our teacher, who went through the extreme example of being attacked, nothing compared to what we've experienced. You know, our teacher was betrayed, beaten, torn, and finally murdered, okay? And what are we experiencing? Oh my God, somebody misinterpreted me. Somebody did not see me correctly. They misinterpreted me. Okay. So our teacher is saying, listen, I just want to teach you a new interpretation of attack that you can use in much less extreme temptation to perceive yourself as attacked. Okay. So that's why our teacher says that he did the whole crucifixion thing. Our teacher says he did the whole crucifixion thing because an extreme example is a very good teaching device. Like our teacher's like, now what is it that I could do where they would really get it? Where they would really get it that you can't be killed, you can't be destroyed by anything that anybody does, from misinterpretation to murder of a body. Let me see, what could I do? I could do the whole like have myself betrayed, have myself misinterpreted, have myself beaten, torn, and then finally killed. Yeah, and then demonstrate that it still had no effect on me. Why? Because I did not see myself as attacked. So if you don't share that interpretation of yourself as being attacked, then you too can experience no effects of attack. According to this, you only experience the effects of being attacked when you perceive yourself as attacked. If you don't share that perception of being attacked, then you don't experience the effects of being attacked. Wow. Well, I would like to have that experience. So, we're learning how to do that here. Beautiful. Irene says, how to feel safe in the world, learn the truth about attack, have a different interpretation. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. The Course in Miracles says in one of the workbook lessons, in my defenselessness, my safety lies, that when you don't defend yourself in the face of perceived attack, what you're accessing within you is the strength of your real self. As you were created by God, you access ultimate strength. You access ultimate strength when you don't defend yourself against attack. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that if somebody is beating you up or abusing you, that you stay. So, if somebody is beating you up or abusing you, get the hell out of there. And then go for the healing of your belief in attack and your desire for attack and the guilt that makes you perceive that you deserve attack. Okay? So just answer that one, because I get that one a lot when we talk about in my defenselessness, my safety lies. That doesn't mean allow yourself to be abused or attacked by another human being. It means that who you really are cannot be assailed. It means that you are a spirit, not a body. That's what it really means, and that who you really are cannot be changed by what other people think of you. That's what it really means. Hold that thought. All right. So, great. Now we are in paragraph 12. And remember, we're chapter 6, section 1, the message of the crucifixion, or we could say the reinterpretation of attack. So paragraph 12, you are not asked to be crucified, because that was part of my own teaching contribution, says the voice of the Course, our teacher. Okay, well, what are we asked to do? Our teacher says, you are merely asked to follow my example in the face of much less extreme temptations to misperceive and to not accept those much less extreme temptations to misperceive falsely as justification for anger. That's what our teacher is saying is what is being asked of us. Our teacher says the whole extreme example called crucifixion of the body and the resurrection, that was my own teaching contribution. Our teacher says the only thing that you're asked to do is not to be crucified so that you can demonstrate that you can't be killed. Our teacher's like, you're just being asked to demonstrate, to follow our teacher's example in the face of much less extreme temptation to misperceive, which means to not see it as a justification for anger. Whew. To not see it as a justification for anger. So that's all we're being asked to do. When you're perceiving attack, when you're perceiving misinterpretation, don't see it as a justification for anger. How? By following our teacher's example. Following our teacher's example is how you don't misperceive the perception of being attacked as a justification for anger. Follow your teacher. Follow our teacher's example in how to interpret the experience of being attacked. And to follow our teacher's example in the face of much less extreme temptation to misperceive. Don't accept it falsely as a justification for anger. Why? Because the truth is, even though we don't believe it, there can be no justification for the unjustifiable, which is anger. So the truth is that anger is never justified, because remember, anger means that you believe that you can be attacked. Anger means that you believe that you can be changed by what other people think about you. Anger means that you believe that you can be hurt and changed by what happens in the world. That's what anger means. And it says, and there's no justification for anger, because the truth is that who you really are cannot be attacked. And you are not changed by what other people think about you or what other people try to do to you. You are not changed. You are not affected. You are perfectly immune from all misinterpretations from all experiences of attack. And so that's why anger is not justifiable. That's hard to believe, isn't it? Oh, yes, it really is so very difficult to believe that anger isn't justified when you're perceiving yourself as attacked. But when you follow your teacher's example, and when you reinterpret attack as a call for love, and when you reinterpret attack as a reminder that who you are cannot be changed by what anybody thinks, says, or does, then you will see, then you will know that your anger isn't justified. And when you realize anger isn't justified, now you're not going to be projecting out the cause of your pain. You're not going to be projecting out anger into the world. You're not going to be poisoning your body with anger, and you're not going to be poisoning your relationship with anger and projection. Whew, wouldn't that be great? I love it. Hi, Juanita. Lovely to see you, my dear. So happy that you're here too. All right. Yeah, this section is one of the most helpful, healing, useful, protective sections in A Course in Miracles, because it talks about how to keep yourself safe from the corrosive, poisonous, disastrous effects of anger. Very practical. Now, then our teacher says, do not believe that there is any justification for anger, which means, and don't teach that there is any justification for anger. Don't believe it, don't teach it. Don't believe it, don't teach it. There is another interpretation of attack. There is another way to respond to the perception of attack besides anger. And when you respond to the perception of attack with anger, it ain't helping at all. It makes it exponentially worse, because you're demonstrating that attack is real and anger is justified. So you're just making it worse for yourself and the world. So don't believe that there is a justification for anger, and don't teach that there is. Remember. Okay, whenever it says remember, that's an instruction. That's an instruction that if you will follow and use, then you will unlock the miraculous effects of these ideas. These ideas are beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're incredible, they're poetic, but you don't release the power, the miraculous power of these ideas until you use them when you need them. And in this case, when you need them is when you're experiencing anger and you're feeling like your anger is justified because you perceive that you've been attacked. Okay? That's when you need these ideas. That's when you need to use them. Because if you don't use these ideas, you're just going to be perpetuating the illusion of attack and anger as a justification, which just, continues to make some more of it. Now, another instruction that's coming from the author of the Course and our teacher says, if you'll believe this with me, then we will become equal as teachers. What? Wait a minute. Our teacher's like, if you'll believe with me, we'll become equal as teachers, which means what? You will be able to do, you will be doing as your teacher, the voice of the Course, has done. Heal the sick, raise the dead, and everything in between. If you believe with our teacher, if you'll believe with your teacher and teach with your teacher, then you will do the things that your teacher has done, from healing the sick to raising the dead. And that would be awesome. That would not be so bad, huh? If that's what you were doing as you walked around the world, healing the sick, raising the dead. Okay? This is how you become a teacher like Jesus, like our teacher. That's how you become. That's how you do what our teacher did. Okay? He's telling us, this is how I did it. This is how I did it. And even still, it's like, yeah, I'd love to heal the sick and raise the dead. I'd love to. Okay, great. Well, then don't see your anger as just like, no, never mind. I don't really care about healing the sick and raising the dead. I don't care, because why? Because I worship my anger. I worship my anger. I worship my interpretation. I worship being right. I worship attack. Yeah, that's what I really worship. How do I know? Because when my teacher says, hey, you could heal the sick and raise the dead if you'll teach like me and believe like me, I'm like, yeah, you had me until like, don't teach them anger is justified. You had me till then. It really shows you just how addicted and how much we worship our anger and how much we believe it. When our teacher says, hey, if you'll give that up, you could be a teacher like me, we're like, yeah, that's okay. So, all right. I love it. Irene says, remember, this is an instruction. Yes, remember the instructions. These are the things that if you will remember and use when you are in hell, when you are suffering the toxic effects of anger, that it could release you and take you from an experience of being crucified to an experience of being resurrected into your real and true self and able to fulfill your function on earth. All right, so now we're on paragraph 13. So we're chapter 6, section 1, message of the crucifixion, paragraph 13. It says, your resurrection, yours, okay, not someone else's, your resurrection is your reawakening. Oh, okay. So your resurrection doesn't have to come from being crucified. Okay? Your resurrection isn't going to come from being treated so horribly that finally you realize your true self. No. Your resurrection is coming from your reawakening. And what does reawakening mean? Your reawakening is I skipped ahead. It says your resurrection is your reawakening. Then our teacher says, I am the model for rebirth, for reawakening. But rebirth itself is merely the dawning on your mind of what is already in your mind. So our teacher's like, now you are going to experience resurrection. That's your destiny. That's your teaching destiny as a child of God. But your resurrection isn't going to come from the crucifixion of your body. Your resurrection comes as you are reawakened to what is already in your mind. Beautiful. When what is already in your mind dawns upon you, you will experience your own resurrection. Phoenix rising from the ashes. Anybody feel like they're in the ashes right now? The ashes of attack. Then this is for you. Now, we already heard what's in our mind already. And what's in our minds already that we don't know about, that we've forgotten about because of our addiction to attack and anger. What's already in our minds waiting to dawn upon us is the awareness of our own perfect immunity. What's waiting within our own minds is the awareness that we remain exactly as God created us. Nothing has changed that. Nothing has affected that. And that we literally remain exactly as love and God created us. And that we cannot be attacked. We are perfectly immune to any misperception or attack that we may experience from others or ourselves or in the world. That is what's already in our minds that's waiting to dawn upon our awareness. And when we become aware of what's already in our mind, then we will experience our own resurrection, where we once experienced ourselves as dead, or limited or assaulted or impaired, and now we experience ourselves as resurrected from the dead, from the pain, from the past. Would you like to experience yourself as resurrected from the pain of your past? I would, and this is how it's done. It's just the dawning on your mind of what is already in your mind and that you forgot. That you forgot when you were valuing attack and anger more than the truth. All right. Beautiful. Juanita says, reawakening is beautiful. Indeed, reawakening is a miracle. Reawakening is your own resurrection. Phoenix rising from the ashes. What ashes? The ashes of our own anger, from misperceiving, from believing what isn't true. Thank you, Juanita. And Juanita says, remember to use these to become free. Exactly. Remember these. And Deborah says, oh my gosh, I went through this and it was the best experience I could ask for. Amen. Thank you for saying that, Deborah. That's what you're going to realize, is that the correct interpretation of attack is that really, if you interpret it correctly, it actually leads to your resurrection, to your restoration, to your reawakening. So then you'll look back and go, oh my God, that crucifixion was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And now, wow, now that is a new interpretation. So if you can interpret attack in a new way, that new interpretation can actually lead to a new life, a new awareness, the kind of life where you feel like, wow, I have been resurrected to my real self. Now I can be my true self in a truly safe world. So, beautiful, Deborah. You got it. Okay. Then it says, God placed what's in your mind, what's already in your mind. God placed it there himself. And so what's in your mind already is true and there forever. Now our teacher says, I believed in what was in my mind already, and therefore made what is in my mind forever, made it forever true for me. Now our teacher is going to plead. Our teacher is going to ask something of us. And then our teacher says, please help me to teach this. I accepted what was already there in my mind, and I accepted it as true forever. Please, would you help me to teach what's already in your mind, also there forever, to our brothers and sisters. In the name of the truth, in the name of reality, the reality of God, help me to teach this truth about what's already in your mind, what's already in my mind, put there forever by God. Please help me to teach this to my sisters and brothers, our sisters and brothers, in the name of God's love. So our teacher is asking something of us in that regard. So obviously that must be another description of our teaching healing function here on earth. So like it said earlier, if you will understand this new interpretation of attack, then it will help you to understand your role as a teacher and a healer. So apparently, our role as a teacher and healer here on earth is learning. I cannot be attacked. I cannot be assailed. And there is something within my mind that is there forever that God put there that is perfectly immune. That is perfectly immune to the ego and anything the ego says or does. And that in order to teach that truth, that perfect immunity that's in all of our minds, in order to teach that and to demonstrate that to others, I've got to believe it myself. I got to believe that new interpretation of attack. I've got to believe that I am perfectly immune to attack and that perfect immunity within me was put there in my mind forever, put there by God, and it cannot be assailed. It says, teach that, please. Will you please help me to teach that to our brothers and sisters? He says, but first believe that it's true for you, or you will teach amiss. All right, beautiful. So, we're hearing what our teaching function is. We're hearing what our spiritual purpose really is. We're hearing our mission, should we choose to accept it. We're hearing what our teacher is entreating us to teach to others, so that we can help to create heaven on earth, a truly safe heaven on earth. But first, believe that it's true for you. Believe that it's true for you, which means use it when you are tempted. That's how you will come to believe that it's true for you first. Use it when you're tempted by anger, when you're tempted to project the cause of your pain. Use this idea. That is how you will be able to teach it. All right. Okay, so now we're on paragraph 14. So we are at chapter 6, section 1, paragraph 14. Okay, now our teacher is going to tell us a little bit about that experience of crucifixion that our teacher went through. And our teacher says, my brothers slept during the so-called, quote, agony in the garden, unquote. Now, our teacher put agony in the garden in quotes, okay? Now, then our teacher says, but I could not be angry with my brothers. I could not be angry at them. When my brothers slept while I was going through that agony in the garden, remember that agony in the garden I went through, says our teacher? I could not be angry at them. Why? Because, says our teacher, I had learned that I could not be abandoned. Wow. Alrighty. So now our teacher's like, let me give you a little example of what it might look like when you are, when it appears that you are being attacked and assaulted, and even like, arrested in the garden before you are crucified. Our teacher is saying, here's an example of how to do it. I could not be angry at my brothers who were sleeping while I was going through being arrested in the garden, because I knew I could not be abandoned. Okay? There's an example of how it's done. That was our teacher believing that he could not be assaulted, that he could not be attacked, and that he could not be abandoned, which is just another word for being assaulted, being attacked. Wow, that adds a whole nother layer to it. I cannot be abandoned. I cannot be attacked. I cannot be persecuted. I cannot be abandoned. Okay, now imagine if you believed that you could not be abandoned. Okay, what would you be demonstrating in your life? What would you be experiencing in your life if you believed that you could not be abandoned and you were teaching that you could not be abandoned? Well, for one thing, you wouldn't be angry all the time. That's for starters. You wouldn't be angry. All right. Now, then our teacher says, and Peter swore he would never deny me, but he did so 3 times. And then our teacher says, and it should be noted that Peter did offer to defend me with a sword, which I naturally refused, because I wasn't at all in need of bodily protection. Wow. So our teacher is like, yes, my brother slept during my agony in the garden, but I knew I couldn't be abandoned. And then one of my brothers offered to defend me with a sword, and I still did not see myself as in need of a defense with a sword. Okay, so our teacher's like, let me give you a little example of how it went for me so that you can see how it could go when you are perceiving yourself as under attack and being assaulted. Then our teacher says, I am sorry when my brothers do not share my decision to hear and be only one voice, says our teacher. And what's that only one voice? The one voice that says, I need not defend myself. My own perfect immunity cannot be assaulted. I remain exactly as I am created by God. I cannot be attacked. Our teacher says, I'm sorry when my brothers and sisters don't hear that, they don't listen to only that one voice. I am sorry when my brothers and sisters don't share my decision to hear only one voice. The only one voice that says, I cannot be attacked. I cannot be abandoned. I cannot be betrayed. It says, our teacher says, the reason that I'm sorry when my brothers and sisters don't share my decision to hear only one voice is because it weakens them. It weakens them as teachers, and it weakens them as learners. That's why our teacher says, I am sorry when they don't share my decision to hear only one voice, because now they're weaker as teachers and learners in this place where there's a lot of need for teachers to demonstrate the perfect immunity of the children of God. And our teacher says, yeah, I know that our brothers and sisters cannot really betray themselves or me. So yeah, I'm sorry when they don't share my decision to hear only one voice, but I know that our brothers and sisters really can't betray themselves or me, and I know that it's still on them that I must build my church. So yeah, I'm sorry when people don't share my decision to hear only one voice, but I know they can't betray me or abandon me, and it's still on you guys, says our teacher, that I must build my church. So yes, I wish that you only heard one voice like me, but I still need you. That's what our teacher says. So even though you're not hearing only one voice like me, I still need you, says our teacher. So our teacher's like, I still need y'all, because it's on you that I must build my church, which means it's on you that my truth and my healing extends to the world. We are the church. We are the body that the message of the perfect immunity of the children of God, we are the bodies that message goes out to the world. So even though we are still tempted and we are not perfect as teachers or learners, we are still tempted to listen to the other voice, the wrong voice. We are still tempted. Our teacher's like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset with you. I'm not worried about you betraying me or abandoning me. I'm not worried about that at all. I still really need you. I still really need your voice. I still really need your body. I still really need your hands and your feet to extend the message of the perfect immunity of the children of God. That's so loving. So our teacher is not mad at us when we are weak as teachers or learners. Yay! I'm so glad, because we are still weak as teachers and learners, because we are still listening to another voice besides the voice that tells us you don't need to defend yourself, you can't be attacked. We're still listening to another voice. But our teacher is not upset. Our teacher is not like, you betrayed me. You're a bad teacher and learner of mine. You're a bad disciple. Our teacher says, I'm not. I know you can't betray me. I'm not worried about that. I just am sad and sorry that you're still listening to the voice which weakens you as a teacher and a learner, which is slowing down the whole healing of the family of God. So you're innocent, but I still need you. So I'm not mad at you. I still need you to learn and just learn how to listen and follow only one voice. All right, how are we doing on time? Okay. And our teacher says, there's no choice in this. There's no choice in that you are still the foundation of my church, because only you can be the foundation of God's church. Wow. And so it's okay that you've been weak as a learner and also as a teacher. You're not betraying your teacher. You're not betraying God by being weak and giving in to the temptation. And don't feel guilty. You're still the foundation of God's teaching in the world. God still needs you to help the world, to help the message of guiltlessness and invulnerability to go out into the world. Now, then it says, a church is where an altar is, and the presence of the altar is what makes a church a church. Okay? What is an altar? A church is where an altar is. A church is where an altar is. Here's an altar, and the church is around the altar. The altar is what makes the church a church. Any church which does not inspire love has a hidden altar. And that's an altar which is not serving the purpose for which God intended that altar. Wow. So in any church, the intention of an altar is that it would inspire love. That's the purpose of an altar, that it would inspire love. Okay? Here's an altar. Why do we have an altar? Because we want this symbolic reminder of our intention to be loving, to extend love. Okay? Now, if that altar isn't extending love, if love isn't coming out of that church, if love isn't coming out of that body, that form that has formed around the altar, that means there's a hidden altar, which means there is another devotion that is not loving. There's another devotion that's not about love. Maybe it's a devotion to fear. Maybe it's a devotion to, to anger. Maybe it's a devotion to control. But if love isn't coming out of that form, that body, that relationship, it's because there's a hidden devotion, meaning some other devotion besides love. All right. Now, and it says, our teacher says, I have got to found God's church on you, because you who accept me as model are literally my disciples. What are disciples? Disciples are followers. But if the model the disciples follow has chosen to save them pain in all respects, then those followers are probably unwise not to follow that model. So that's what our teacher is saying. I'm just a model. I'm just a model I'm just a model for how to save you pain. That's what our teacher is. I'm a model, trying to model something for you that will save you pain in all respects. That's what this teacher is. That's what this curriculum is. A model that you could follow that will save you pain in all respects. Wow. That's what this teacher is, and that's what this curriculum is. It's just a model for us to follow. And that's why our teacher's like, here's a model to follow. I was so-called abandoned in the agony of the garden. I was beaten, betrayed, and finally murdered when I had given only love. Here's a model to follow in how to interpret it how to interpret assault and attack in a new way. This is a model of how to respond and interpret attack, so that if you will follow this model, this new interpretation of attack, then it will save you pain in all respects. And then our teacher is saying that if this model, if you are not going to follow this model, then you're probably unwise in not following a model who's chosen to save you pain in all respects. So our teacher's like, I'm a model who, if you follow, it can save you pain in all respects. And if you choose not to follow my example, then it's probably unwise, if it is that you want to be saved from pain in all respects. So I love hearing that, because that reminds me of why I want to follow that model in how to reinterpret, how to respond to attack in a new way. Because I want to be saved from pain in all respects. For real, okay? I don't like pain. I know you don't like pain either. And when something's telling me, here's a way to respond to attack that actually will save me from pain, well, then you got my attention. That's what I want to follow. I want to follow this model and how to respond to attack. All right, beautiful. Now we're in paragraph 16. Okay, how are you guys doing? I'm going to take a breath here. All right, let's all take a breath. There's some deep stuff. Very deep. Okay, I'm going to do one more paragraph, and then we're going to wrap this up and do the integration meditation. So, you're almost there. Good job, good job. Does it seem like it's been like 3 hours? Paragraph 16. Now our teacher is still speaking to us, because remember, our teacher is teaching us here a new model, a new way, a new interpretation of attack. So our teacher says, I elected, both for your sake and mine, to demonstrate that the most outrageous assault, even as judged by the world or the ego, didn't matter, is what our teacher says. I'll say it again. Our teacher says, I elected to demonstrate that the most outrageous assault, even as judged by the ego, didn't matter. Oh, what? The most outrageous assault, even as judged by the ego, did not matter. What if you were able to say that about the situation where you are feeling attacked? This attack doesn't matter. This attack doesn't matter. This assault doesn't matter. Well, our teacher elected to demonstrate that for us. Thank you, teacher. Now, the teacher goes on to say, as the world judges these things, but not as God knows them, I was betrayed, then I was abandoned, then I was beaten, then I was torn, and then I was finally killed. Yes, the most outrageous assault, even as judged by the ego. And then our teacher says, and it was perfectly clear that I was betrayed, abandoned, beaten, torn, finally killed, only because of the projection of others onto me. Because it's obvious that I hadn't harmed anyone, and I had healed many, says our teacher. And then and I have to go on now because, So it says, paragraph 17. So our teacher goes, and we are still equal as learners, even though we don't have to, we need not have equal experience. How is that? Well, the Holy Spirit is glad when you can learn enough from my experience of the crucifixion to be reawakened by my experience of being attacked and crucified. And that you would be awakened by our teacher's experience of being crucified, that you would be awakened by our teacher's experience of the crucifixion. It was the only purpose of that experience. That's the only purpose of the crucifixion story experience, was that you would be reawakened by that experience. That's its only purpose, and that is the only way in which I can be perceived as the way, as the truth, and as the life. Wow. The only way that we can perceive our teacher as the way, the truth, and the life is if we use the crucifixion experience our teacher went through to reawaken us. And unless that is the way we are using our teacher's experience of crucifixion, then we cannot use our teacher as the way, the truth, and the life. That's what our teacher was teaching. Our teacher's whole purpose was to demonstrate that you cannot kill a child of God. You can't attack a child of God. You can't change a child of God from what God made a child of God to be. That was the whole purpose of our teacher's teaching on earth. And our teacher chose that really extreme example of assault. I mean, the most outrageous form of assault, to teach us that no matter what you try to do to a child of God, even unto betrayal, abandoning, beaten, and murder, doesn't matter. Attack doesn't matter. And if we can learn this, if we can use that crucifixion story to learn that attack doesn't matter. You can't kill a child of God. You can't change a child of God, no matter what you try to do to them. Then you can now experience your teacher as the way, the truth, and the life. This is the way, the truth, and the life. Would you like the way? Would you like truth? Would you like life? Well, that is the learning that who you are cannot be attacked, it cannot be assailed, it cannot be murdered, it cannot be abandoned, it cannot be betrayed. And so when you learn that truth, then you will experience the way, the truth, and the life. Wow. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here, and we're going to do the integration. We're going to do announcements, and then we're going to do the integration meditation. We're going to actually use these ideas where you may be perceiving yourself as being attacked or crucified in your experience right now, so that we together can apply the truth to that experience of being crucified, following the model of our teacher for how to reinterpret that attack, and thereby experience our own rebirth, our own resurrection back to our perfectly safe, unchanging, unchangeable, ecstatic self. Does that sound like fun? Awesome. So, announcements are, I do 2 live streams a week, and doing a 3rd live stream with Greg on Sundays relative to the healed relationship, healed and healing relationships. That's Sunday, probably around 7 to 8:30. We don't know. We haven't settled on a time. I do a live stream every Monday where we do Miracle Roulette. We let Spirit decide for us from the Course what we hear. On Wednesdays, I do, like today, I'm reading straight through from the annotated edition of A Course in Miracles. And Greg does a Tuesday Facebook live stream where he does a synthesis of A Course in Miracles in the Bible. Very beautiful, very powerful. And then, like I was saying, Greg and I on Sundays have been doing a shared broadcast on how to heal relationships as taught from A Course in Miracles. And so on Sunday. Beautiful. Also, I'm a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a psychotherapeutic niche called Miracle Psychotherapeutics, where I offer psychotherapeutic support to people who are going through some kind of crucifixion from the world or in their bodies, where but they want a new interpretation, a new way to respond to that experience of crucifixion from this model right here. So the best way to reach me to schedule one of those sessions is either private message me on Messenger or go to my website, annakujawa.com, and find my phone number somewhere on that website and text me. That's the best way to reach me, is to text me. And then we can set that up. So Skype or Zoom or in person if you're able to come up here, but I'm available for that. So, all right, so those are the announcements. And now we're going to do the integration meditation. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes if you feel so motivated. And we are going to use these ideas. All right. Close your eyes and take a breath. How do you feel right now having heard these ideas? Just notice how you feel. And take a breath. Wonderful. Now I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship in your life where you are feeling crucified, where you are feeling attacked, whether it's from someone out there or something happening in the world, or maybe something happening in your body, or maybe something happening in your finances. Somewhere where you feel like you're being crucified, where you feel like you're being assaulted or attacked. In other words, somewhere where you feel angry. Your anger is your indicator of where you are feeling as if you are being attacked or that you have been attacked. And take a breath. All right, now we are going to apply the new interpretation of attack that our teacher has modeled for us. A new interpretation of this attack or this assault that will transform our experience of being crucified and attacked and being angry and feeling justified in our anger into an experience of being free, our freedom, our resurrection, our rebirth. I want you to bring that situation or relationship into your awareness. And I want you to tell yourself, I am experiencing anger right now because I believe I have been attacked. And I believe that that attack was unfair. And I also believe that I am in no way responsible for that attack on me. Tell yourself the truth, even if you don't believe it. Beautiful. Now I want you to tell yourself the truth. Even if you don't believe it, that's all right. We already know you don't believe it. Tell yourself, I cannot be attacked. The truth is, I cannot be attacked. I cannot be assailed. I cannot be assaulted. I cannot be crucified. And so my anger is not justified. And take a breath. This is how we do it. We tell ourselves the truth even though we don't believe it. But notice how you feel, even if it's hard to say it. Tell yourself, I don't want to teach attack. I don't want to teach attack. That's not what I want to teach. I don't want to teach victimhood. I don't want to teach attack. I do not want to teach victimhood. I do not want to teach that I am vulnerable to the attack of situations or people. I don't want to teach that. I don't want to teach that attack is real and attack works. What I really want to teach in this situation is my own perfect immunity. I want to demonstrate my own perfect immunity. I want to teach that I remain exactly as love created me. I cannot be changed by what people think of me or do to me. That's what I really want to teach, because that's what I really want to learn. I want to fulfill my function here. I don't want to teach victimhood. I want to teach the truth. That you can't kill a child of God. You can't attack a child of God. That's what I really want to teach. And so let us say to our teacher, the voice of the Course, I want to follow your model. You are teaching me how to avoid pain in all respects by teaching me a new interpretation of attack. I want to follow your model. I want to follow your model in how to respond to attack. So, teacher, teach me how to respond to attack like you did. Show me the way. Show me the truth. Show me the life that you demonstrated by correctly interpreting attack in a new way. And say to your teacher, I know that I have been weak as a teacher and a learner. I know I have been weak as a teacher and a learner. I know I have. And I thank you for reminding me that you don't feel betrayed by me being weak as a teacher and a learner. I hear you saying that even though I've been weak as a teacher and a learner, you still need me as a foundation of your extension of the truth into the world. And now I want you to ask your teacher, voice of the Course, please show me another way of interpreting this attack. Teach me another way to interpret this crucifixion. Show me another way to interpret this attack. Show me another way to interpret this crucifixion. Teach me your interpretation of attack. Show me how to perceive the perfect immunity in myself. Teach me how to demonstrate my own perfect immunity. Teach me how to demonstrate my own perfect invulnerability to crucifixion, to attack, to anything the ego says or does. Show me how to teach and to demonstrate my own perfect immunity from attack, from crucifixion, from misinterpretation. Show me. I want to learn. I want to follow your model. Because I want to be reawakened. I want what is already within me to be reawakened. I want the heaven and the power and the love and the joy and the ecstasy to be reawakened. That's already within me to be reawakened, that I may experience myself as resurrected from my past. That's what I really want. So teach me, teacher. Show me how to interpret this the way you did, that enabled you to rise from the dead, literally, even after you were betrayed and abandoned and murdered. Show me how you did it. Teach me how to interpret this attack in a new way, like you did. And thank you. Thank you for doing it for us. And thank you for still having faith in us, even when we are weak as teachers and learners. Thank you for still needing us, still valuing us to help you to do your healing work on earth with mankind. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, teacher. Beautiful. All right, just take a breath and bring your awareness back to your body, back to the room. Way to practice, truly. Good job, guys. Way to heal yourself and way to take your part among the healers of mankind. Way to do it. And way to heal your body and your life and your relationship from the toxic, poisonous, corrosive effects of anger that is based on a misinterpretation. Way to do that. Good for you. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. If you would like to support this ministry, a free and easy way to do that is to go to my YouTube channel and to like and subscribe to it. And I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time I see you.